Hey, welcome back. Let's do this. It's Eric Arnold. What is it? Friday night, the 26th of November. We're bringing you the Saturday college football slate, as I promised. Kind of late getting it to you, but holidays and family and what have you. And the weekend just kind of got away, so we're jamming this in here best we can in the secondary studio. It's cold outside. I got a cigar. Let's get going. A lot of picks. I didn't even count. I think it's 30-some with the 10 that I gave you already. So that's about par for the course, 40 for the weekend. I think we're 5-5 in our other picks, unless Washington makes some kind of miraculous comeback here, which it does not look like they're going to do. I don't know. I don't feel real great about these games, I got to admit to you. I went through them, and I tried to, tweak them, twist them, and we're just, I don't know, just not totally confident, in these games. I don't know. I'm not sure what that means. Usually that's not good, because the times I haven't been confident have been disasters. Let's get over here. Let's go, right? We get the Florida and Florida State game. And my model really is shoving hard towards Florida State. It seems like two teams going in different directions. I said that there was a path for Florida State to have a real nice season if they won up at Boston College, which I said they would, in the cold. And they did, believe it or not. So you beat Florida, and now you go and win your bowl game. What have we done this year? Well, okay, it looks like it's a bad year, but we beat Miami, we beat Florida, and we won our bowl game. That's a pretty good year. That's not terrible. So I don't think it's going to happen now. I'm going to take Florida. I just think Florida's better. I just think that team's better no matter how much disarray it's in. I just think that team's got more talent. It just means more, right? It just means more. Someone told me that. Is that a slogan, or do they actually believe that? So we're going to take the SEC out of conference. I'm going to buy their crap for now. It just means more. So we'll take Florida. Another one, Georgia Tech. SEC out of conference. We'll take Georgia because it just means more. Doesn't really mean more. I mean, Georgia could win by 28 points and it wouldn't matter. They're still going to be in the SEC championship game. They're still going to be in the playoff, essentially. That's what everybody's told me. ESPN said they get like a 99% chance of being in the playoff. Now, I know they don't have a 99% chance of winning against Alabama. In fact, the books already have a line out on that game. It's Georgia by 4 points. So basically what they're telling you is the committee's going to put them in no matter what. No matter what. Unless they lose to Georgia Tech, and I think the chances of that happening are about zero. So we're still going to take Georgia. It seems like they just cover every number it's put in front of them. They just smash people. Georgia Tech coming off a 55-0 game to Notre Dame. I don't know Georgia's that much better than Notre Dame, frankly. That's where you would think I would say, well, Georgia will beat them 80-0 if Notre Dame won 55-0. I don't think Georgia's that much better than Notre Dame, frankly. So, but we'll say Georgia's going to get the cover here. We'll lay the 35. Connecticut versus Houston. This is a good look-ahead spot here for Connecticut. In other words, Houston's, I think, pretty well locked into a big matchup with Cincinnati in 2 weeks, with the chance to fix Cincinnati's little red wagon and be the hero of the United States, of which probably nobody wants to see Cincinnati in there, at least the fan bases of some big, powerful teams that are going to be left out if Cincinnati gets in. So Houston could be the heroes of a number of teams. So I think they're looking ahead. Going to be miserable, crummy weather up in Connecticut tomorrow. And Houston, not equipped. So we're going to go ahead and take the bad team, take the points. We'll take UConn. I changed this game just like 2 minutes ago. I just looked at it and I said, "What? Why would I not take Wake Forest here? You know, all they got to do is win now. All they got to do is win, and they're in the ACC championship game. They've had a couple bad games now, but I think they still have a premium coach. I think we have a coaching edge. I think we have a talent edge. I think Wake Forest is going to do enough to get this one done and cover the number and make it to the ACC championship game. We're going to take Wake Forest. Yeah, that's just how I don't know how else to look at that. We got to take Wake Forest here. Maryland Rutgers. I looked at the matchup between Maryland and Rutgers going back, and Maryland generally handles Rutgers. They generally outgain Rutgers. I think last year was a little bit of a fluke. I think Rutgers won. We're going to go ahead and say Maryland. We're going to take Maryland on the road. Toledo Akron. Toledo's pretty good. Akron's, I think, falling apart. They fired the coach midstream. Just when I thought that team was starting to improve, they canned the coach. So all those kids are thinking about transferring. Nobody's really, win one for good old Akron. Yeah, nobody gives a shit about that. Not half that team's not going to be on the team next year. So probably more than half the team. So I think it's a good spot for Toledo to run up a big number. Toledo. Not 100% sure why we have Temple here. Maybe I'm just thinking Navy shouldn't be favored by 13.5 over anybody. So we're going to go ahead and say Temple hangs around, keeps us close. Texas Tech, Baylor. This is one of these where this is just too many points. These are rivals. Texas Tech generally keeps these type of games kind of close. The spread usually isn't that big. So we'll take the 2 touchdowns with Texas Tech. I saw a good bit of the Louisville Duke game last week. Duke's awful. Duke is terrible. They just have no defense at all. So, if Miami doesn't turn the ball over, they should easily score 40-some points. And if their defense shows up at all, they should cover 21 pretty easily. So we're going to take Miami. Oh, let's see. I think my cigar is tunneling here. Yeah, it's definitely tunneling. So we'll try to talk and relight the cigar all at the same time. North Texas UTSA. Well, I told you UTSA's Icarus. Remember Icarus? He flew too close to the sun. His wings fell off. That was the end of Icarus. Well, that didn't quite happen last week, although we were right that UTSA did not cover. But they pulled out the miracle win at the end there. Good for UTSA. But they're still too close to the sun. And with that undefeated record, I think they're feeling the pressure. It's like, God, if we keep winning, what's going to happen? What would happen? Well, what would probably happen is they'd probably get slapped in a bowl game with somebody like Wisconsin. And that would be the end of UTSA. So we'll just say that North Texas is going to keep this close. That's what we're going to say. Take North Texas. Texas State over Arkansas State. Two bad teams will take the points. Appy State over Georgia Southern. Going to play up in the mountains. It's crummy. It's after Thanksgiving. It's cold. This is generally a time that Appy State grinds out yards on the ground, and Georgia Southern, they're in chaos. They fired the coach. Now they hired the guy from USC. That's, I don't think, any great deal. And we just like Appy here. Lay the points. Southern Miss is just a play against Florida International. I mean, what Butch Davis had to say about that was so damning. I mean, it was such a damning indictment of Florida International. Yeah, my school doesn't really give a shit if we win or not. It's like, well, okay. I think I'll take a team that cares if they win. I'm going to assume that's Southern Miss. For all I know, they don't care either, but I bet they do. So we'll take Southern Miss. Wyoming, Hawaii. That's just a weather pick. These weather picks are, pay attention to that. That's a very strong angle. Very strong in college. Not the pros so much, but in the college, the weather angle, very strong. Penn State, Michigan, interesting. Much better. There we go. I traded texts with a Penn State friend of mine. And it's like, so, you just got married to James Franklin for 10 years? And he's upset. He's sad. I don't know. I don't think Franklin's a bad coach. I think things are on the right track for him. He's just got to kind of stay the course. He's a young man. So stay the course, and I think eventually Ohio State is going to come off its pinnacle, and Penn State will then be able to compete. I think things are trending on an upward plane for Penn State, despite their alumni thinking it is not. Now, Michigan State, they just signed their coach to a giant, 10-year extension. I guess there's a rationale for these massive extensions, which seem like they're only a one-way street. In other words, if USC calls James Franklin up tomorrow and says, we're going to give you the moon and the stars, come coach us, he's under no obligation to Penn State. He can just say, sorry, thanks for the offer, but, I'm not forced to coach here. And that seems to happen a lot. So, I don't know. They gave Mel Tucker 10 years too. I'm going to say advantage Penn State here. I think Penn State's on the upswing, and I don't think Michigan State is on the upswing. I think this has just been a one-year fluke for these guys. I'm not sold on Mel Tucker, and we're going to say Penn State takes care of business on Saturday. I feel pretty good about that pick. I feel good about this pick. Oregon State versus Oregon. Another coach got extended that you've never heard of, Jonathan Smith. He's an Oregon State guy, believe it or not. He played quarterback there. The Oregon State, seemingly, that's one of those programs where, it's just a hopeless deal. But you get the right people in there. You don't get a rent-a-cop. You get a guy that wants, an alum like Smith. Oregon State has improved dramatically under Smith. And here you go in the Civil War. I know we're not allowed to say that anymore, but I'm going to say it anyway just because annoys, that would annoy people in the mainstream media. You can't call it the Civil War. Well, why not? I mean, Ohio State and Michigan fought a 10-year war. It wasn't actually a war. I don't think anyone actually died, but we call it that. Anyway, and if you're wondering, where's the Ohio State pick? Well, of course it's at the end. I'm not going to put that right up top so a subscriber X and Chuck Armstrong can stop watching. We're not going to do that. We're going to force those guys to watch to the end. So that's at the end. But Oregon State, Oregon, we're going to take Oregon State here. I think Oregon off the very deflating loss to Utah. They I think that's a team that's not playing as well now as they did at the beginning of the year. They lost one of their main offensive wheels, who I cannot remember the kid's name. Thibodeau seems to be in and out of the lineup with injuries. Plus, I think he's probably now already thinking, well, should I opt out? I mean, should I opt out? Should I opt out of the Civil War? Because, I'm supposed to be the number one pick in the NFL draft. So, and that's what they do, Ralph. So we're just pushing back the opt-out date further and further. So he might have already mentally opted out. So we're thinking Beavers here. Illinois Northwestern. Northwestern's done me no favors all year long. That's been a bad team all year. And every time I play them, they fail. So we'll just play against them because they've been bad. We'll take Illinois. I don't know what to do with this one. I went back and forth on this one, and I think I basically come down with, I just think Western Kentucky's just that much better than Marshall. Even though the game's at Marshall, we're going to say Western Kentucky. Alabama, Auburn. I don't know anyone ever went broke betting on Nick Saban. Huge tax we're paying here to play Alabama. But then I don't believe Bo Nix is playing. I think he's hurt. And he's Auburn's quarterback, right? And I think he's actually, for all I know, they got somebody waiting in the wings that's even better. But we're going to say they don't. And I still say that it's possible that Alabama gets in with 2 losses, but they got to put some style points on the board here. So we're going to say Alabama runs the score up if they get a chance and lay the wood 20.5, Alabama. Vanderbilt, Tennessee. The model likes Tennessee, but the same thing here. I did this. I switched it last week and it was successful with Vanderbilt. They keep these games close. They just keep these games close. These SEC teams just are seemingly unable to just pull away from Vanderbilt. I don't know what Vanderbilt does. I assume they do not run tempo and just kind of shorten the game. They seem like they're never in danger of winning a game, but these huge point spreads, 31.5 points, we'll take that. We'll take Vandy. Indiana's been dead all year, and why would that change now in a rivalry game? You're going to get up for this game after you've been just total trash all year long? I don't think so. We're just going to say Purdue takes care of business. Take Purdue. Tulsa, SMU. We'll take the point. It's on the road there. We'll take Tulsa. No rationale. Virginia Tech. This is a game I think we're right. We're right. I had Virginia Tech, and I looked at it, and I said, I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't feel comfortable at all. Virginia Tech is a team in disarray. Fired the coach. Even though I don't think that coach was that bad, they just think they could do better. Okay, you think you can do better. Virginia Tech has owned this rivalry. I'm sitting here watching, I picked Washington because they own their rivalry. And Washington State is kicking the living hell out of them. Sometimes the other team finally just gets better, and then they just hand your head to you. And I would say right now Virginia is significantly better than Virginia Tech. And I think they're going to show it Saturday. Virginia Tech in disarray. This is a perfect spot for Virginia to really get one over on their, rival who's had it over them forever. Virginia, I think, is going to take care of business. We'll take Virginia. Middle Tennessee State against Florida Atlantic. Oh, I don't know. We'll take Middle Tennessee State, and I don't know why. West Virginia, Kansas. This must be a model play. I'm a little leery here because Kansas has stuck it to us at least once, and I know that team's getting better. I keep telling you people that. I'm hoping that they don't have a lot of depth and that, they've thrown a couple big punches in a row now, and I'm thinking maybe they'll just be tired. Just, all right, we've done some nice things this year, and now we're just out of gas, and West Virginia gets it done on the road. West Virginia, I think, has played okay on the road this year, so we'll take West Virginia. Another one of these SEC ACC deals. What's going on? Why do we have all these games this week? I guess that's just how these rivalries play out. But it means more. That's what I've read. I mean, ESPN tells me that. And ESPN, they wouldn't lie to me. So I'm going to say Kentucky here because it means more. Bedlam. What a game. This is Oklahoma State is still in it for the playoff, which would be a first. Oklahoma State in the playoff. That would be exciting. I don't think it's going to happen. This is just, I told you that, okay, this could be the backwards year where the teams that have owned rivalries, the little brother finally gets one up on them. So that would mean Oklahoma State gets their big, huge win, tear down the goalpost in Stillwater. We're not going with that. We're just not. We're going to say Oklahoma finds a way, just like they always do, to beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma's had a pretty down year for them, but they can make it all better if they win this game. And I think they will. And they're catching points. I don't know Oklahoma State's all that much better than Oklahoma. You can... It's fashionable to say Oklahoma State, oh yeah, they're better. They're better. If they are, it's by that much. It ain't by much. It ain't by much. There's a lot of talent on that Oklahoma team. So, and we're getting 4.5 points. I'm going to go ahead with the team that generally owns the rivalry, especially if I'm getting points. We'll take Oklahoma. We got Tulane, Memphis. We'll take Tulane. Not 100% sure why. I think we have a coaching advantage. I like that coach down there at Tulane. You're probably wondering, you don't even know who that is. I do know who that is. His name is Willie Fritz. That and $1 will get you a phone call. It might get you a phone call. $1 will not get you a cup of coffee. It might get you a phone call. Okay, Notre Dame 20 over Stanford. Why not? Notre Dame just keeps covering numbers. That's a team I think I've been on most of the week or most of the season. And they've been very, very good to us. So why get off them now? We'll take Notre Dame. Colorado State, Nevada. The only reason I got this one is just because I thought I detected a smart money move here with Colorado State. Colorado State, here's a fun fact for you. Since 1980, Nevada's never won at Colorado State. So there's that. We'll take the points. We'll take the Rams. All right, here we go. Here's the big one. Here's a big one. I was wearing a blue shirt, and I took it off to shoot this video because I don't want anybody to be confused. I don't have any Ohio State paraphernalia laying around. I am an Ohio State alum. I am counting the hours. I'm nervous about this game. I don't feel good about it at all. A lot of people think this is just going to be, another Ohio State blowout, and we're just going to run all over these guys. I don't know. I mean, it's up at their place. We have won by huge scores up at their place. But I don't know. I just kind of think that Michigan team's a little better than their normal team they put out there. I know they've got a decent pass rush. I'm worried about our quarterbacks, what I think is a lack of mobility. I haven't seen that kid make a lot of plays with his legs this year. And you're saying, well, he hasn't had to. Well, that's true. He just drops back to pass and hits the wide open receiver for a touchdown, and there's that. And yes, if we're able to protect him, our guys are going to be wide open, and all he's got to do is hit him. Because I don't think Michigan can cover him. I'm just not sure he's going to get the protection. I think Michigan might be able to get all over him and pass rush him and cause mistakes and get us behind the sticks and off schedule and et cetera. And I know our defense isn't that good. I know they look like world beaters against Michigan State, but I just think that was a good matchup for us. We got up big on them, took Michigan State out of what they like to do, which is run the ball. We're not as good as what we showed against Michigan State. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that. I'm afraid the team that played Oregon's going to show up. That, all of a sudden, Michigan's doing business just like Oregon did. We're having trouble stopping them. And next thing you know, we're behind. I'm taking Michigan. I don't know they're going to win, but I think this could be a close game. If you look back over the last, say, 10 years post Jim Tressel, the spread, the winner of the spread, who's covered the spread, it's about split. Generally, because we're usually favored by a ton. And some of these games have been pretty close. There was that 42-41 game up there where Michigan went for 2 and didn't get it. 42, that was what, 2013, I think? The People's Champions. That was that team I loved so much, the first Urban Meyer team, the people. I called them the People's Champion. The People's Champion. That was a great team we had. Then we lost to Michigan State. But we had won some crazy number of games in a row, like 25 in a row, because we weren't allowed to go to a bowl game that year. We barely beat Michigan that year. Then there was a game in Columbus that went to overtime, and the Michigan people still say we didn't pick that 4th and 1 up. We did, and we won, but we didn't cover. So that was a game that was like just that close. In 06, when we played the game of the century, which, of course, we forgot we had to then play dirty Urban Meyer and the Florida Gators that killed us. But we did win the game of the century against Michigan, but did not cover. So I think it's feeling like another game like that. I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be close, and I'm going to take the 7. It's going to be shitty weather up there. It's going to be hard, windy too. So I think Stroud might just be limited just that much. And we're not going to be able to just rook these guys like we normally do. Now, I really dislike Michigan, and I hope we do kick their ass. Believe me, that would make my next month. That would carry me to the playoff, or at least the Big Ten championship game, whichever comes first. I guess that'd be a week. I expect to win the Big Ten championship game if we get into it. But if we make the playoff, then I'll be happy all through December. It's like, all right, took care of Michigan, won the Big Ten championship game, a successful year for Ohio State. That's what we're looking for. So I'm looking for a big blowout win. I don't think we're going to get it. I think it's going to be close. I'm going to take the points, take the crummy Wolverines. It just feels like that. There was a big game here, high school football tonight. Governor Mifflin, best team in the state of Pennsylvania according to the rankings. They got beat tonight. They got beat by Exeter of all teams. That's another team here in Berks County. Exeter's never beaten anybody for anything, but they won. They're in the state semifinals now. Exeter Eagles. Can you believe that? I mean, it's one of the biggest upsets in Berks County history. That's why it just feels, I don't know. I saw Bob Stoops on a former Oklahoma coach, and one of those talking head things today. He said, "Yeah, I just think Michigan's due." It's like, well, Bob Stoops knows more about football. Bob Stoops has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. So, yeah, that fits in with what I'm thinking, man. I'm telling you. So, that'll make all you Ohio State people out there. Subscriber X is going to go sleep tonight going, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But in, deep, dark places he doesn't like to talk about at parties, he's going to be nervous. And he'll probably have to get up 3 times tonight because he can't sleep because I said that. But we'll see. It's going to be a grinder, I think. We'll be there at noon tomorrow. The game. Let's get it on. Let's go, Bucks. Let's go, Bucks. OH. IO. We'll talk to you next week. Signing off.